You've probably heard that debt is the source of all evil and that debt is slavery. To some sense, this is correct. If you're drowning in debt, your life is over. Welcome to Finance Dojo. We aim to be the best personal finance educational channel you'll ever need. Click that subscribe button and the notification bell right now so you won't miss out. In this video, we'll talk about how rich people use debt to make even more money. We will discuss 5 strategies on how to take advantage of debt like the rich. So give this video a thumbs up and let's get right into it. Your debts are not waiting for you to pay them off while you're attempting to pay them off. They're getting bigger every day because no one lends money for free. There's always a fee. Despite this, the US has decided to embrace debt. The total amount of consumer debt in the United States is almost $15 trillion, with the average family debt exceeding $5,300. The US GDP is little more than $21 trillion, implying that the whole economy is based on debt. However, debt isn't always bad. That is a controversial viewpoint because the majority of our debt is bad debt. You undoubtedly have credit card debt, a vehicle loan, and maybe college debt. And paying off all this will take decades. How can that possibly be beneficial? Let's look at how individuals with a lot of money still utilize debt to earn even more money to see how that might be a good thing. It may appear strange, since why would someone with a lot of money use loans in the first place? Debt is supposed to be used by people who do not have money. That, however, is not how capitalism works. If you know how to use debt effectively, it may be a very effective tool. Number 1. Most of the trade is based on debt. It may sound a bit controversial because borrowing money to start a business is a horrible idea. But there are businesses that are using debt as the best option. For example, you want to sell computer keyboards. It's a very common product that there's always a demand for it. Ideally, you would fly to China, find a keyboard factory with good quality and the right price. You'd purchase a cargo of keyboards, transport them to the United States, and distribute them to the customers. However, unless it's a more involved product that requires flying to the plant, this is generally done online through websites like Alibaba. But here is the catch. You don't really have to pay for the products to have the products first. Allow me to explain. China has transformed into the world's factory, manufacturing almost everything in the last 50 years. Most of these factories would gladly loan you their items in exchange for a payment at a later date in order to make it easier to sell. That has been the way business has operated for the past 50 years. The customer would pay the manufacturer and borrow additional items after the product was sold in the United States or anywhere else in the world. The factory produces it and you help them sell it. If you can sell it for anything above their price, that's going to be your profit. Selling is one of the greatest skills you can ever master because what makes this strategy is great is you're not tying up your own money in this transaction. Number 2. Refinancing. Because it is riddled with loopholes, real estate debt is the finest sort of debt. You're paying additional taxes if you don't have a mortgage. To gain all of these deductions, wealthy individuals always have numerous mortgages. Remember that every dollar you save, instead of paying in taxes, is an additional dollar earned. This is how real estate millionaires make their fortunes. Let's imagine you save $200,000. That's a lot of money. But to be honest, it's nothing. You can't even purchase a house and you won't be able to get a mortgage for more than $800,000 since you'll have to pay a 20% down payment. Let's imagine you locate a property for $500,000 that is in poor shape and requires some remodeling. You go to a bank and apply for a mortgage with a 20% down payment. Then you're planning to remodel the house for roughly 10% of the overall cost, or $50,000. You return to the bank, this time to refinancing your mortgage. The value of the property when you receive your first mortgage was just $500,000, since it was such horrible shape that no one wanted to live there. However, now that you have remodeled it, there are people interested in renting it out. As a result, let's suppose the market worth of the home increases to $700,000. Let's imagine you're going to receive an 80% mortgage again, but this time, it'll be $560,000 instead of $700,000. $400,000 of that money will go to your first bank, which provided you with your first mortgage. Even if you subtract $50,000 that you spent on renovation, you still have a profit of $110,000. You made $110,000 using debt, and you're left with a property that you can rent out to grow equity and earn passive income. And because you have a mortgage, you can avoid taxes. Now after this, do you still see that debt is horrible? Number 3. Hedge funds. Hedge funds are made by the rich, for the rich, to make rich people richer, and they usually use unpopular strategies. Ordinary people make the best efforts to predict which company are going to grow and rise in value, and invest our hard-earned money in hopes for these companies to grow. But hedge funds often use a completely opposite strategy. They try to make money when companies fall or go bankrupt. How do hedge funds make money with debt? For example, you expect a certain stock to decline like Facebook because you know that Apple, who produces the most popular smartphones, will no longer let their apps track your online activity like Facebook or Instagram and instead make privacy their first priority. As a result, Facebook's economic model will be severely harmed. Because of this, you call your broker to borrow a single Facebook stock that costs $100 and instantly sell it in the open market for $100. Now you have $100 in your pocket, but you still owe your broker one Facebook stock. Now next week, Facebook's stock price decreased to $70. You use that $100 to buy one Facebook stock for $70 and you've made $30. It may appear simple, but in actuality, it is highly complex and dangerous. Imagine if you can make a mistake, or if the price doubles in the blink of an eye. You must still return that single Facebook stock to your broker and pay interest on the shares you borrowed. To return that stock to your broker, you must purchase it for $200. When you buy a stock and try to sell it as it rises in value, the most you can lose is the amount you invested. In the case of shorting, however, if the price continues to rise, your losses will continue to rise. Number 4. Forex. Currency trading takes place on the Forex market. It facilitates international trade. In China, you must spend US dollars but must purchase Chinese yen. In China, for example, there is a market where anybody or any corporation may acquire foreign currency. And based on different factors, these currencies fluctuate. For example, the Fed raises interest rates. That will limit the supply of dollar in the market and make US dollars stronger against other currencies or vice versa. You may make a lot of money in this market if you can anticipate which currencies will climb or decrease. But what sets these markets apart from the rest is that you may borrow an additional $100 for every dollar you trade in Forex. That implies you may hold a position for $100,000 if you trade with your $1,000. Even if you make 1% profit, it will be significant. Number 5. Credit score. Debt is a powerful tool, as you can see. Debt is used in numerous ways by every successful business or entrepreneur, especially if they have an established business plan. Borrowing money to fund purchase orders is something that almost every company does. So stop thinking in terms all debt is bad. Establish a track record as a dependable borrower. Hundreds of billions to trillions of dollars are sitting in banks, ready to be borrowed. And even if there isn't any money, banks can create money in a surprising way. As always, this video is for educational purposes only and not financial advice. You should always do your own research and speak to a financial advisor before making any investment decisions. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.